How's it going, everybody? My name is Dion Morales, host of the Gold Squadron podcast, and I am with...
Frank Brooks, designer of Second Edition.
That's right, man. First I want to say thank you so much for all the work you've done on X-Wing, man.
Thanks.
I know that a lot of people are super excited about Second Edition. If you could give me, I know we don't have a lot of time, what is, if you could boil down, what's your favorite thing about Second Edition that you got to tweak?
Oh, got to tweak. I was ready for a different direction on that question,
right.
but that's okay.
We'll go there.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so thing I got to tweak. Oh, boy. Jeez, there's so many little things. I think linked actions helped resolve the push the limit issue of the game, because it was so much about, can you do that? Okay, you can't. Here's your other option. Or this ship doesn't have very good action, so I'll give you Predator. And it was that was it. There were two cards, if you were a good pilot, that you could use. Or Veteran Instincts. But that's basically it. There were only a handful of cards that we could care about. So having the ability to just more or less ignore that as an option, and have, even if we do reintroduce it, it would be not in that sort of capacity. It'd be in a much more limited way in which you can make those linked actions occur. But yeah, having the ability to kind of extract that, but still keep it alive via ship abilities and whatever. Ship abilities are great. That's not really a tweak. It's just a new thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little new things I really like. A subtle one was the making green blue. That was it's one that ever since I was my grandmother had that red green one. So when we played Uno, she had to I had to mark all of the cards that are this one's green. So anyway, so I was I'm glad to do that little tweak there. I don't know, man. There's just so many little things. Quick build was an interesting discovery we had. That was pretty late in development, but honestly, I think that's a way we can really go forwards, especially with organized play, to be able to have really creative new ways you can play the game. Via OP and potential future projects, we could give you quick builds that just break the rules. We wouldn't want you normally to be able to do this, but why not? It's this limited version of it, but here you go,
Right. An example would be with the Fang Fighter having the modification on the quick build, but not in the list you guys published.
Exactly. The other one too is just giving people two mods,
right,
or a mod when they don't have any. Those are kind of subtle, but it's noticeable when you can do this thing you can't normally do. It's pretty unique. So yeah, and giving you extra crew members than you could fit, and all sorts of stuff like that. I think people will have a lot of fun trying to make those quick build environments happen. So.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to play tomorrow. It's going to be tons of fun. All right, so what's your favorite ship in Second Edition? If Frank got to play X-Wing instead of work on X-Wing, what would he fly?
Well, right now, for work reasons, I would definitely be playing some of the new stuff from Wave 3, but I don't know, because we've had so much fun coming up with the way to make these new factions work, making the Resistance behave different than the Rebels and the First Order different than the Imperials. It's been so great to really breathe a new attitude into the game, where you're just what if we focused on this,
Right.
And the way the Republic and the Separatists behave, it's they don't feel like other factions. You're not well, I could do the same thing in a different faction. There's, obviously because of game effects, there will be things that are similar, but the kind of general themes about how clones talk to each other, how droids work with each other, it's different, and it's gotten me excited to play more. After having made the an original core set, it's been mainly Brooks and Max. Max Brooks Fugler-Letzinger,
right,
and Alex. All the four of us have been rotating off of who's the primary, who's helping, that sort of stuff. So I actually haven't really led anything since I've been doing a lot of squad builder stuff.
Right.
But in the games that I have been playing, it's been with separatist stuff. So
right.
I'm really enjoying playing with them. So.
That's awesome. So obviously there's going to be droid based. It's a lot of calculate-esque stuff.
Yeah.
I guess you got the question I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Either Republic or Separatist.
Right. As I just told you.
Right, you just told me he's Separatist.
Separatist stuff.
All right, so then you don't have to nod your head or anything. Sure. So we'll probably see stuff like Grievous somewhere in there. We'll see Jedi. We saw a Jedi Starfighter. Jedi confirmed, right?
Yes.
Plo Koon and all these super cool Jedi. So I'm excited about that. Tomorrow with the quick build event that we're having, what is something you want to see come out of that event for players?
That's good. That was a good question. I liked that one. Not that your other ones are bad. I just this is a good one. Because honestly, it's this new way to take a concept that you're familiar with, flying at you, shooting. But like when a ship's destroyed, like normally it's just like, well, it's gone. But here it's like you get to do the whole comeback with the, I'm completely blanking on what the
triangle thing.
Yes.
Hyperspace marker?
Yeah, it is a hyperspace marker. That's what it's
Right?
called. It's a form of escalation. I forget what we actually called it, but because escalation was the thing we were calling.
Because you're not like a year ahead in your mind or anything. It's fine.
No, not at all. But yeah, having that level of escalation does this weird thing where it's like playing up this idea of like leveling up in that sense of like a destroyed ship and it becomes this better thing when it comes back, and like just obviously now that you have this hyperspace token, this way you can like enter the board that's not a player edge, I think will allow people to come up with some interesting ways that they can actually make that happen in other games. Like I really think that quick builds combined with like that card and just the general versatility of second edition, I think will allow for a lot of people to be able to do stuff that you just couldn't do with first edition stuff and all of that. I'm really excited to see what playing that new way to play the game inspires people about other ways in which they can have each other shoot each other with, Yeah, we've been spitballing some really interesting novel ways that like I would love to just tell you, but we might do them, so I can't tell you. But there's some really interesting ways that you can track victory other than that, but not in Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I was part of the group. I don't know if you got light of it, of the X-Wing objectives. We put all that together. So when we saw that with this second edition event that's happening, that there's objective-based things in the game, we were just super excited to see it because there was something more than just kill your opponent and win, which is awesome.
Yeah, like it's obviously good, like having that as the main like tournament format, like having everyone, this is what you practice for, this is why you're here, it's really good to have that because there's not any wacky curveballs really, like what the game's going to be, and so having that's really important for the game, like for the game's lifespan. But I'm really looking forward to these other game formats and having new ways to play with your toys, being able to just interact in ways that you just never thought to do in first edition. So
all right, now I'm going to ask some harder questions now. Okay, some fastballs. You answer what you can. I totally understand. So with the squad builder coming out, is there going to be any way to export data as like as a player, as a streamer from the app?
Definitely, yeah. I don't know how much I can get into it specifically, but outside of just having a PDF that has all of the information, there will be other information that you can extract from it that will tell you what was on the page other than just the words, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. After that, with the Force, I know that's something that a lot of competitive players are a little bit worried about because it's really, really good. I get. You guys and your Reddit Q&A talked about maybe point adjustments happen about quarterly. Is that still about where you guys are at?
It might be twice a year, it might be 3 times. We haven't quite settled on it yet, especially like early going, because it's like we have a rough idea of where it should be, like we played it, but having a wider audience participate as well, and everything will certainly shake things up. But yeah, and also like if the meta's getting stale where it's like everything feels kind of good, there are some stuff that's just not seeing table play probably, and shifting it so that something that's just not in the game becomes part of the game again. So I think it'll always be a constant flowing process. So I can't give you specific values. And again, the first couple years might be a different rate than the rest of the time, but I'm really looking forward to the ability to flex that. So if someone's like, why would you ever not do this? And it's like, that's why, or whatever. So.
Then for the major competitive events like the North American Championships and stuff like that, is it going to be just the released waves that are legal, or is it going to be something that's flexible?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sure. So I wish I knew this a little bit better because like that's organized play.
Right.
But I know there's certainly the intention that the everything that's ever been, it will be certainly a game mode that people will be able to play in. The one that is the second edition, everything that's been released for second edition is going to be a way that people play. But yeah, this ability for them to kind of like pick and choose a limitation of what ships could be played is certainly something that we're going to be rotating in quickly, as far as like a way. And again, it's like not all game modes will be played this way, right? Not like we're not going to have this crazy whatever. But yeah, the ability for people to having this kind of shifting meta in that we're choosing specific ships or pilots or whatever that'll be able to be played in this game mode, that will kind of make you rethink, because it's like, well, normally I'd throw this guy in the list, but he's not available. What could I do as a substitution for that? And I think just having that kind of like weird metas, like I think the best example of this was I forget which South American country it was, but there was a guy who came up to me. I think it was I'm gonna get it wrong. Not that I don't know geography or anything.
That's all right.
There was a guy who came and he was telling me like which specific ships he had access to, and it was this obtuse list. It was like, oh yeah, we've got like wave 7, wave 4, the second core set, and like is this? I'm like, I don't even know what's good in that, you know. And it was just, and so they had this crazy meta where it was like all defenders and Brobots. I think it was like the 2 lists, and it's just so weird to look at the game when it's like, you know, you throw a bucket of paint on the list and be like, all the things you can read, those are the ones you play with, and it's just like, what is this nonsense? So I don't know. I'm a big fan of this idea of just like throwing you into that new space and just figure out what to do. I mean, a little bit on Keyforge, not that, you know, that's not a Star Wars game, obviously, but a little bit with Keyforge, how you have to adapt with this deck that you don't know, you never played it, and you're like, how am I going to make this work? What do I do to make this deck work? You know, it'll be a similar thing where it's like the meta is so foreign that you're like, what do I do? I mean, I normally go here, but this is available and I can't do that, and I don't know. I think there'll be a lot of fun there.
Oh yeah, I mean, just the ability to squad build. I mean, it's such a fun part of X-Wing. Yeah. Just be able to sit down and tinker.
Yeah.
Will local TOs be able to change the parameters in the app for their local tournaments?
Yeah, one of the types that we wanted to do is this idea of a custom game mode, where you can essentially put that restriction list up yourself, right?
Okay, awesome.
You could be like, oh, only these upgrades, only these ships. So if you really wanted it to be this specific thing, you totally can do that. I'm not sure what like formal events that will be able to actually support that level of restriction, because it's not, obviously you can't do that for like your normal like regional event or whatever. Yeah,
I get it.
But at the same time, we highly promote that people go in there, make their like custom game mode, distribute it to their players, and be like, "This is what we're playing this weekend." And you're like, "What? It's the only ships are, you know, only generics or whatever." And this idea, or like simulating waves from the first edition, or like, there's so many weird things you can do when you can just choose which ships are available, right?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely going to be a thing that'll be available. Like very soon into the second edition Squad Builder. Yeah.
So we're expecting that to drop with September 13th with everything else, maybe a little bit before.
A little bit. I mean, the Squad Builder stuff will be with launch.
Okay.
The custom game modes, we'd like to see that right away, but again, there's a lot of little bugs, all that sort of stuff. So if not, like we're going to see it very soon. So we definitely want to promote this idea of this the custom game modes that you can really, you know, make your own, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see which restrictions people like, because if they're good and people like it and it gets shared a lot, we might do stuff that uses that as well. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And then this is just, I guess, usability of the app, because we don't have too much information on that. If I'm a player playing at, let's say, Adepticon next year, would I be submitting my list through the app to the TO, or is it still going to be pen and paper?
I'm not sure, like, as for specific events, I don't know how they're going to be wanting to receive it, but the goal is that there will be means in which you are able to share the list without having to have printed it out beforehand necessarily. Cool. But yeah, we're not trying to do any like transmission stuff like that. That's not really part of the goal. But yeah, we do plan to have a way where when you've made a list, it'll have essentially a identifying marker that when checked, would indicate whether it's like legal or not in the current game. So you can't have made a list like 6 months ago and be like, oh, this is totally fine when we've changed the game, whatever. So they will be able to know at the event that in fact you are playing the current version of the game or whatever.
All right, well, Frank, I want to say thank you so much for all the work you do. I am extremely excited for the Clone Wars content, Separatists, and the Republic. 7 factions.
7.
That's a lot of factions. So one thing you guys talked about when you first launched second edition is that the ability to have more granularity is going to help us balance the game. And that's something I just want to tell you that I'm excited about. Thank you for all the work you do, my friend. Thank you.
Gold Squadron out.
There you go.